All right, welcome everybody. So this is going to be a little bit of a repeat for some of you, but it'll be new information for some of you. This is basically the getting started launch information that you'll need if you are either just coming in and want to get a fast start out of the gate, or if you've been in for a little while and you're kind of stalling, we suggest you draw a line in the sand. You can do it figuratively, or you could do it like we've done a couple times and literally go draw a line in the dirt by your house. Get over that line and start fresh. Start that race all over again and launch yourself properly, because I truly believe that those that make it in this industry launch, and those that never launch never make it. It's that simple. I have yet to meet anybody who's ever gotten to a high rank that didn't launch at some point. It's an analogy that I like to use is an airplane. If you're going on a trip, number one, you need to know where you're going. So having a destination might be the first thing that you would want to do, right? Can't take a trip if you don't know where you're going. So destination would be the first thing. The next thing would be to pack. And the next thing would be to go to the airport, board the plane, taxi in the plane, and take off. So what does that look like for a business? How does that correlate? What's your destination? What's your start goal? Do you want to be an A3? Do you want to be hitting the 500 club? If you're brand new and you are still within your very first few weeks of the business, my suggestion is hit the 500 club. So that would be an excellent destination. The 500 club means you've signed up 10 personally, 10 people that you have brought to Actives that came in as distributors and bought over a $200 start pack. So the 240, the immune pack would qualify them. There's a 250 pack that has slightly different. There's different combinations of packages that they can do. We suggest the $500 premium pack. And I guess there's now 2 of those. So whichever package they choose, as long as it's over 200, is going to qualify you if you get 10 of those for the 500 club. And you need to do it within your first 90 days. Now, a proper launch is within 30 to 45 days. And the reason for that is you've got to create momentum in your business. We'll get to that in just a minute. So destination, do you want to be an A3? Or do you want to be in the 500 club? Maybe if you're past your first 90 days, maybe A3 is your goal. So the next thing you're going to do is pack. So there's some basic getting started things that you need to do to pack in Actives. So if you haven't been to actives.info yet, I highly suggest it. There's a section in there called Getting Started. There are some itemized things that you need to do right out of the gate, and don't let them take days. This should be like 1 day at most, or maybe even like an hour that you set aside to get started and pack, right? The packing is not the trip. The packing is not getting to Tahiti. We're going to say that the destination part of this is Tahiti, because I like to use that example. So the getting started shouldn't take long, but there are things that are necessary and they'll hang you up if you don't get them done. You have to fill out your W-9. You need to set up your hyper wallet after you sign up your first person. You can't do it until then, but once you've signed up a person, they're going to send you an email and you need to look for that and follow the instructions, set up your hyper wallet account so that you can start to get the money that's coming to you. If you haven't filled out your W-9, it's just going into a holding wallet within the hyper wallet, and it's not going to your account because they won't pay you until you fill out that W-9. So there's a couple of really key things. You can set up your website. That's not as critical, but it's a good step. So getting started just has a few things that you need to just go check off. And I'm not going to rehash those because you can see them on actives.info. So the go part is figure out your launch date. When are you going to go? What's your start point? If you're wanting to launch in October, and I'm going to go into why you should launch in October here in just a minute, then figure out that you need to get going quickly, right? And actually set a date. If you're brand new and you don't know what to say and you're nervous and you're trying to find yourself and you're trying to figure out what you've actually gotten into, just understand your job in the beginning, back to our airplane analogy, is kind of to be like the guy with the flags or the gal with the flags out on the tarmac that points the directions for the airplanes. Only in this case, you're actually guiding people to see it, right? So your job is to ask people, are you interested in looking at or joining us on or being on or talking to? And it's like one sentence. Your job is not to explain what Actives is or what the products are or really anything unless you're comfortable doing it. If you're pretty seasoned in this and you feel comfortable having that conversation with people, knock yourself out and go for it. It is the fastest way to get people involved, is just to talk to them. But if you're brand new and you don't know what to say, stumbling over yourself and trying to say some information usually comes out like too much. I've heard people in the industry say vomit. You don't want to throw up all over your people. It doesn't end well. So we want to make sure that they go away with enough information to make a proper decision and not just enough to make a bad decision. And that's what often happens when you're not sure and you're just excited and you're running out of the gate and you're like, I found this and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, whoa, no, not for me. I don't sell, not for me. I don't have time, not for me. I don't have whatever. They're making a judgment based on not knowing all the information. It's almost a 99% chance that you're going to get a no. So if you're brand new, your job is simply to say, are you open to talking to one of my business partners on the phone? Are you open to watching a video? Are you open to getting on a Zoom and hearing some more information about this? And usually it just comes down to whatever conversation I'm having with them or what I already know about them. When I make my list, need to add that to our list, right? So we might have a packing list. If you're a list maker like I am, you have a packing list so that you don't forget anything. In this case, it's going to look like making a list of names. I'm going to go back and pick up that step because I don't care what order you do this in, the get start or the list of names, but they both need to be done like tonight or tomorrow, very soon, or Monday by the latest. So make a list of names, and that's not the top 4 people that you're going to talk to. If you say 4 people and these are going to be my forerunners, you're wrong. I hate to tell you that, but most often the people we think are going to do it don't, and the people that we don't think really it's for them surprise us, and they are the ones that are so excited. You can't guess. If people walked around with 5 stars on their forehead because they're amazing and they're ready and they're going to go all the way to the top, somebody in the industry, and I would probably be one of them, would have already signed them all up. But the beauty of it is we don't know. We don't know who's ready in their life right now. We don't know who had a conversation last night with their spouse. And all of a sudden it looks like they're making lots of money in their business, but all of a sudden they need to make some more money now. And they were talking last night, do we sell a car? Do we shut down this portion of the business? Do we let this employee go? What do we need to do? And they're open to looking at something right now. So if you get the impression to talk to somebody, write them down. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't try and rationalize that yes, it's right or no, it's not. But I also don't just go in and copy down the names off my phone. I do look at my phone to get names and phone numbers, but I'll kind of scan through it and see who pops out at me and why they pop out at me. When I write down their name and their phone number, and I do write down their name and their phone number, it's important to have a list separate than your digital device. Write it down on a piece of paper. There's something magical that happens when you actually write it and see it being written versus just calling from your phone. I mean, I have 1,000 people or more in my phone. I don't even know how many. I could easily find people to call on my phone, but I'm not just going to call down through my phone. I go off the list that I made, and I would suggest that you do the same thing. There's magic in actually writing it down. So you need to have at least 100. And I know that sounds maybe like a lot for some of you, but we live in a day and age where people are really busy. So you might call 10 or 15 before you get the first person to pick up. And don't leave voicemails, and don't just text them blindly. It's best to have a face-to-face contact phone call or face-to-face conversation, with somebody that you run into on the street, run into at the store, run into somewhere, or call them and have an actual call on the phone. Leaving a voicemail can leave them just enough information to make a bad decision. So we want it to go as positively as possible. So you can leave them a voicemail that says, hey, this is Trish. I've got something really important I need to tell you about. So try and call me back today if you can. That's it. I didn't tell them anything. They don't know if I'm expecting a grandbaby. They don't know if I'm moving. They don't know. They don't know. I've just got something really important I need to tell them. So I don't leave any information. I don't tell them the name of the company. I don't tell them I have an opportunity. People make a snap judgment and then you've lost them. So my job is just to talk to them and have a physical conversation. And then when I do, the conversation is really short too. So I told you I have something really important I wanted to share with you. It's really too much to share over the phone. What's the best way to get this in front of you? Do you want to meet for lunch? Do you want to get on a Zoom? There's a Zoom usually every night that I can get you on. You can hear from some of my business partners. Or, you know, if tonight doesn't work because you've got soccer games and you've got homework and you've got this and you've got to work late, can I send you a video? Would you watch a video if I send it to you? Would you watch it tonight at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock whenever you finally come up for air? If they say yes to a video, I don't send them the video right then. If they say they can watch it tonight at 10 o'clock, I'm going to send it to them about 9:45. And I'm going to send a text that says, here's the video I told you I would send. If it's okay, can I call you at 10:30? I know it's late, but I just want to check with you after you watch it and see what your questions are. It's the best way. And I know it's late, but a lot of times they won't watch it late. They'll watch it on a lunch break. They'll watch it while they're driving between appointments. You know, if they're driving around with their business, a lot of times people will listen in the car and then I can follow up with them at 2:30. But I try and set up a follow-up time about a half hour to 45 minutes after they say they're going to watch it. That holds them more accountable. And it reminds them that they said they would watch it because I'm sending it to them just right before they said they were going to watch it. So the whole point of this is you're getting your names list and then you're talking to as many people as you need to get people in front of the information. If you're brand new and your enroller lives near you, it would be wise to call that enroller and say, hey, can I set up a meeting at my house, at my office, somewhere where your friends and your colleagues will go, a place that they feel comfortable, and have someone in your upline support team come and do that presentation. If there's nobody that's qualified because you're all brand new and everybody's in the same boat, I've had teams that have done launch meetings with a Zoom. So they've called and said, Trish, can you do a Zoom for me on Tuesday at 7 o'clock my time zone, which may or may not be mine, usually isn't. And so I make the time change on my end. And then I do the Zoom and they'll have 10 or 12 people sitting in their living room. It works great. They have me up on the big screen. Does it really matter if I'm there in person or on a screen? Not really. But the excitement in the room by them all being together is tangible. And I love doing that. We've launched some big growth in different groups that way. So the whole point is to get enough people in front of this that you get going. The problem with network marketing as a whole is people will get in and they end up doing this step, the taxi step, and they taxi through their business for 4 years or 5 years, and they might be 5 years into it and they're making a $300 check. That tells me that they've been taxiing, tells me that they're doing enough to expend some gas, not literally, sorry. If the airplane's moving, it's expending energy, right? It's burning gas. You can literally burn through a whole tank of gas on the ground. Does that airplane ever get you to Tahiti? No, but you did all the proper steps. You made your destination goal, you figured out your date, you got to the airport, you got on the plane, you stored your luggage, and you put in the gas into the plane, and now you're taxiing around and you're moving and you're doing stuff and you're going someplace. But at the end of the day, you've spent all the money on the gas of the plane, and all you've seen is the workers doing this and other people getting on planes that are taking off. Have you ever been in network marketing and watched a cross-line leader take off and thought, oh, they're so lucky? No, they're not. They just put in enough energy to get the plane off the ground. That's the difference. So that's why I wanted to have this tonight, because a lot of you could be in taxi mode. A lot of you could be just brand new, and I want to avoid the taxi mode because you can spend just as much money going around on the tarmac, and that's people that are getting in, and they talk to somebody here and they talk to somebody there. Unfortunately, this company doesn't have a lot of expenses. We haven't had any events yet where you've had to travel, take off time for work and travel and buy the tickets to the event and the airfare and the hotel and the food. And we haven't done any of those live events yet. So we're lucky when it comes to that. But hopefully someday we'll have an event like that. But you could spend a lot of money, and some of you have in other companies spent a lot of money going to events and just taxiing in the business and never really getting off the ground to making the big checks. So getting off the ground looks like putting in a large burst of energy quickly in order to get that propulsion, to get the airplane off the ground. In this business, that looks like signing up 10 people as fast as you can. We love the fact that this company has a bonus for people that sign up 10 quickly. So the 500 Club, absolutely incredible. We've always taught people sign up 10 as quick as you can. This is the first company we've ever been in that actually got it. Ryan's heard us talk about that so many times. I love that he added a bonus for it because it incentivizes people with financial to do the proper behaviors that are necessary. You'll hear Eric and I talk a lot right now about timing. And I just want to throw this in as a little side tangent. I truly believe that even more important than timing is this launch, because people that get in 20 years from now, if they'll launch properly, can get to the point where they're making $5,000 or $10,000 a month. They're probably not going to be able to make $500,000 a month. That comes with timing. So you are all blessed. If you'll do the proper behaviors now, you stand to be able to make really, really, really huge money. But there will be people that don't launch and have timing and end up taxiing during the most important part of a business. And they'll get done and they'll have watched plane after plane and distributor after distributor fly off into the sunset and go to these amazing locations and have amazing experiences, make incredible money. And they'll say, oh, they're lucky. Luck is you finding this business right now. Luck is hearing about it as early as you did. Luck is being part of this leadership launch right now. So on that tangent, we are literally so early that there are very few leaders that have been identified in the English US market. There's a ton in the Hispanic Latino market. So we're going to put them on a side burner for a minute. Most of them are in Mexico, Peru, Colombia, but they're starting to seep into the United States. In fact, the first A16 in the company lives in California. Her whole business was in South America and Mexico. So we count her as a Latino leader, but she does live here. It is going to seep over into the United States. So right now we have a chance to make our mark and be part of that leadership that sets their feet hard and steady here in the United States, or we can get run over and miss the timing because we're taxiing, right? I don't taxi, but I don't want to get to the top alone. I want to take all of you with me, which is another reason that we're doing this. So when we were meeting with David Brown last week, we had a talk with him and we were talking about the Actives Academy. So Actives Academy is something that we haven't really talked about here. They do it in Mexico already. But it's a training, it's a leadership training event for people when they hit A8 and preparing them for A12 and A14 and A16 and getting them ready to step into that role. But the people that have to teach those academies come from the top leadership of the market. And as we looked at the people that are following us, a lot of you have never spoken on stage to 10,000 people or 5,000 people. A lot of you have never done a training event. Some of you have never done a presentation. So it's really important that we take a step back, and we had this talk with David and we're like, we need to do a train the trainer because we can't just wait for 6 months until there's people hitting A8 all the time, which we're very close to having. We've got, I think, 3 or 4 now on the team. Good job, guys. And that's exciting, but there's nobody to teach it. I mean, Eric and I could teach it, but there's no sense in doing it. They want to make sure that it's a little bit bigger group, make it a really big special event. But that means having multiple trainers there. So we're having an event at the end of the year where we can do a train the trainer. And what this will do is it will get you prepped and ready to be the trainers at these events. But the other thing that it does is it literally will give corporate a chance to see who the leadership are. Okay. So corporate doesn't know some of you. David's been really good about trying to get into our big markets and meet the people as we're going around and we're starting markets. He's really good about following us and trying to meet all of you. But we learned early on, Eric and I don't necessarily like to play the political leader game. We were in a company 18 years ago. In fact, I found the magazine this morning as I was cleaning out a file folder. Brought it all back to me again. But we were running really, really hard, and Eric was out just pounding the pavement and put about 100,000 miles on our car that year and just running so hard. And we went to their big event and they gave a Leader of the Year award. And we were so sure it was going to go to Eric. He had literally just busted. And they gave it to a guy that hadn't done a third of what Eric had done, but he'd been really good about talking to corporate, and they knew everything he was doing and everywhere he was going, and he was traveling a lot with them. So they knew him and they knew what he was about. And we hadn't bothered corporate. We were just busy working. We didn't know that you needed to make sure that corporate knows who you are and have it be an open door so they know you and you know them and there's some communication there. We dropped the ball on that. And we learned there that it is important to have those connections with corporate. So we want you as leaders to know corporate, and we want them, more importantly, to know you. We want them to know who the up and coming leaders are. So this is a chance to work really hard in October to put yourself on that leader list. So October just started, literally. So you're hearing about this right as the month is beginning. So even if you're brand new today or yesterday, the idea is to go A6 in the month of October. A6 looks like $10,000 in group volume. So the easiest way to break this down, let's say you're brand spanking new yesterday. Okay, if you are, welcome. The goal, the destination is A6 for the month of October if you want to be part of that leaderboard. So A6 can look like you signing up 4 people at $500 each. So those 4 people come in with the premium pack, right? So 500, 500, 500, 500. There's 2,000. Our goal is what? 10,000. So getting those 4, helping each of them get 4, puts 16 on that level, which brings in another $8,000. 8,000 plus the 2,000 you brought in is 10,000. That would get you there. Here's what I don't like about that. You can't determine what your people are going to do. All you can control is what you do. So the way we've always looked at it is we will outwork anybody in the room. We will work longer, harder, stay later, because we know that it's our future on the line and we want to be able to take care of it. We don't want to put pressure on other people to do what we know we need to be doing. Obviously, it's easier with a team helping, but if you do as much as you can, they'll do a little bit. And usually people won't do exactly what you do. They'll do a little less. Have you ever noticed that? So the speed of the leader determines the speed of the team, but usually they're a step behind. Usually the leader is doing yay much, and then the people behind are doing just a little bit less. So if you're a leader and you're frustrated that your people aren't quite at your speed, it's normal. It's okay. Every now and then you'll find somebody that is running at your speed, but they might be, down here. So you watch for them. That's exciting when you find them, but it's not everybody. Not everybody's going to do that. So if that's not predictable, if you go get 4, you can't expect them to get 4. Well, that's kind of misleading, and I don't want to give you a misleading path to A6. So here's what I suggest. If you go out and you sign up your 10 as quickly as possible, you need to do this early in the month. 8, 9, and 10. Yes, we're going to put them all front ways because we're not worrying about placement right this second. We have 35, 45 days to figure this out. By the way, don't have placement conversations with your downline. That conversation is with your upline, right? The only thing that people need to know when they're coming in is that their goal is to go get 4 to 10 people quickly. They really don't have any say in placement. The second you start having those conversations, it gets very convoluted. So just put 10 people in all the way across. We'll figure out placement with your upline, or I can help you with that come the end of October, first part of November. We will figure that out. Don't worry about it. But if you'll go get 10 quickly, you'll either have one of two things happen. You can have each of them sign up one, which would be great because then everybody's made a check. They can set up their hyper wallets. But then again, you're expecting everybody to do something, which doesn't always happen. Out of 10, historically, it's more likely that you'll have 3 or 4 of them catch wind that they're really early and run really hard. Or maybe they don't care that they're early or don't even know that they're early. They just know that they need to make an extra $1,500 this month or they're going to lose their car. Or somebody might be having a pink slip in their future at their job and they know it's coming. They don't have any time to waste. Whatever it is, you're going to find a few people. It's usually 3 or 4 out of 10 that just take off. And if that's the case, then they're likely to go get 3 or 4. So 4 who get 4 is 16, plus your 10 is 26. You've way outpaced A6. You've launched in a big way. But if you wait until the end of the month, and maybe it's the last 4 who get it, well, now you've got a problem because it's the end of the month. And even though they're excited, their people are enrolling and getting in November. So do yourself a favor. That's why we're having this early in the month. Do yourself a favor and launch and get your 10 as quick as possible. So what does that look like? Making a big list, 100 to 200, because we don't know who's going to answer the phone, who's on vacation, whose child has COVID, who just, found out something massive is happening in their life and they're up in our, or they're not even answering the phone. So if you're trying to get a hold of 4 specific people, you can chase them a lot and never get a hold of them. Or you might be talking to 4 people and they're not responding very quickly. I was on an Eric Worre event last fall, and he made an interesting comment. He said, in the past, we've been teaching in this industry to follow up 3 or 4 times. But he said today, in today's digital age, and this was almost a year ago, so I'm sure it's worse, but he said in the digital age that we're in right now, it can take up to 15 to 16 follow-ups to get people to say yes. Because they've got digital overload, they've got advertising overload, they're being bombarded by so many things, you might have to be patient. So right now where we're trying to launch, do we want to just talk to 10 people and then chase them while we're trying to be patient, while we're trying to drip on them and we're trying to get them enough information to make a decision? And if that happens and you're dripping on somebody, go talk to 5 more people. Because you've got to find people that will engage quickly in order to get your plane off the ground. And what that looks like, and you can ask anybody that's on here who's hit the 500 club. I'm not positive because I'm not seeing every name, but I think everybody that's on here, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think everybody that's hit the 500 club has hit that 10 mark, and all of a sudden they've got 11 and 12, or 11, 12, and 13. All of a sudden they've got extra people that sign up because they had so many seeds planted that by the time 8 and 9 and 10 said yes, 11, 12, and 13 were close too. But they did what I asked them to do, and they talked to enough people. They put enough seeds in the ground. Guys, a farmer doesn't just plant 8 seeds hoping that 8 ears or 8 stalks of corn will come up if he wants a little garden. When we plant a little garden in our backyard, we don't just plant 1 seed in each hole that we hope will grow a plant. We usually put 3 or 4 because we don't know which seed is going to grow. This is no different. The laws of the harvest still apply here. It's an eternal, universal principle. So you have to put enough seeds in the ground to be able to yield the proper crop. So whether you're looking at it through a crop analogy, an airplane analogy, a network marketing analogy, the steps are the same, and there are no shortcuts. You'll see somebody go out and just sign up 3 people and they go do something. It's because they've already planted 1,000 seeds in their past. They've already put in the time somewhere else to create the relationships, to build that trust. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen that way. And it doesn't very often happen that way. I still get told no. We still get, no shows. We still get told yes, and then people don't do anything. We're just the same as you, only we do it faster. We do it more aggressively, I guess, just because I know what's in it and I know what the outcome is. And I want to get that plane off the ground as quick as we can because I want to get to Tahiti, by golly. I don't want to be taxiing around the tarmac. I've never yet been to an airport that had a pretty tarmac. I don't care where I've been. I've been to Costa Rica, I've been to Hawaii, I've been to Bermuda, I've been to Bahamas. They all look like cement and buildings. Maybe some of them have trees on the outskirts and some of them don't. But that's not where you want to be. That's not the destination. So make sure that you are setting yourself up for a proper trip. If you really want to get something out of this business and you want to have the experience of time and financial freedom and being able to travel, being able to do the good around the world, I'm going to post something on FastPass tonight that I found in that same magazine this morning. It brought me back to tears and I want to share it with you. So take a look at it tonight and just read it if you can. I probably will have to paraphrase it because I don't know how to get it onto FastPass and have it readable. But basically, just to give you a heads up, we were able to go and take Christmas to a Navajo school 17 years ago, something like that. And my daughter, who is now 25, 26, was young. She was probably about 10 at the time. And there's a picture of her in that magazine giving her doll away. And this was her very first doll that she got when she was 2 or 3 years old. And I often wonder now if she regrets giving that away, but at the time she told me it was the right thing to do. And who am I to stand in the way? We've got a child that wants to give, you let them give. And there's a picture of her giving this doll to another little girl who's about 9 or 10. She wasn't little, and this little girl did not know what to say. She was absolutely speechless. She'd never had a doll before. She'd never had a toy like that of her own. And here, this girl that she doesn't even know is giving up her doll for her. My younger daughter gave up her coat. And when you have experiences like that with your family, those are things that I couldn't teach at home. It's hard enough to teach them to share toys with their friends, but when they go to a complete stranger and they want to give something of great value to them, and they want to give because their hearts are touched, because they can see the needs, they can see the lack, and they can see a hole and they want to fill it. Guys, there's so much world out there for you to experience with this business, and you all sit right on top of it. I don't want any of you taxiing. I don't want any of you watching other leaders launch and regretting or being jealous or feeling left behind, because it's just simple behaviors. It's not always easy. Sometimes we have to swallow our pride. Sometimes we have to overcome our fear. Sometimes we have to overcome shyness. There is serious mindset involved in this business, guys. And if you are holding yourself back, need to find a way through it. And if you need help with that, call me. I've helped people with shyness. I've helped people with negativity. I've helped people with lack of vision. I've helped people with all sorts of different things. And I'm not an expert at it, but I can put you in front of some of the tools that I've used to get to where I am. And I know it can help you. I'm watching people transform in this business. And if you need to transform, if you need to get out of your own way, if you're holding yourself back, let's get you out of your own way, because it's not complicated, and it's not something that requires special skills. It just requires knowing what steps to take. Anyone can say, are you open to looking at a video? I could literally print that on a card and hang it around my dog's neck and turn her loose on the street, and maybe somebody would watch it. It's not rocket science. You're just asking if they're open right now. It's just, I know they're going along in their ruts and they've got their head down. If you picture a big flat field and there's ruts in the field and all you can see are people's backs as their head down, focused on their job, focused on their frustration. They're looking at dirt all day long. They're seeing rocks and their dirt and they're frustrated. Well, every now and then somebody will stand up and get above the rut and look around and realize there's a whole big world out here. And then all of a sudden they get dragged back down into their rut. Your job is to find the people when they stand up, is to be there when they're in between frustrations. Be there when they're so frustrated they've given up looking at the job, looking at the rut, because now they don't know what to do. And so they're looking around trying to figure out what to do. And if you're there at that point, that's when you need to talk to them. So that's why I say, if a name comes to mind, don't question it, because you don't know who is home praying for an answer. You don't know who is home absolutely in desperation trying to figure out what on earth they're going to do. They don't want to have to do this, and so they're going to have to do this, and they've got themselves into a corner and they don't know what to do. And there's more people in that position than I've ever seen in my whole life right now. Almost like, bad analogy, shooting fish in a barrel. We want to help these people. We want to give them an option. People that are being forced to go get a vaccine or lose their job. I'm not going to get into politics right now, but I do want you to know that you hold an answer. You hold a way for them to protect their immune system, to get their oxidative stress down. If they have had the vaccine, they've got higher oxidative stress. Get the vaccine or get the trifecta into their body so it can start to help mitigate everything and balance everything. If they're losing their job and they need another way to make income, they need to get in and they need to launch, because the people that launch are making $1,000, $1,500. Think about it. If you're making $100 for every person that you bring in, if you bring in 10, that's $1,000. If you bring in 10 quickly, that's another $500. That's a minimum of $1,500 that they're going to make just based on their efforts. And then you're going to find 3 or 4, or maybe all of them will go get 1 or 2. And all of a sudden it starts to grow and you get money from the fast start on level 2. So that adds more money. And then they bring people in and they bring people in. And all of a sudden they've got a $1,500 check or a $2,000 check or a $2,200 check in the first month. And the next month it gets bigger, and the next month it gets bigger. And now they have hope again and they can breathe and they don't feel like they're up a creek against a wall. Okay, I'm just going to peek real quick and see what I haven't touched on my list. Daily action is really, really important. If the plane is driving around on the tarmac and it keeps turning off its engine, what is the likelihood it's ever going to get off the ground? Nil. If you don't know how to close people or you don't know how to answer the questions, you have upline team support that is standing by willing to help with that. And all you have to say is, what did you like best about what you heard? Or what did you like best about what you saw? If they watched a video or they were on a Zoom, what did you like best? Are you most interested in the products, or are you seeing this as a business like I did? It's a really good closing line. Are you just interested in product, or are you seeing what this is? Are you seeing the chance to be first in something that could be $1 billion business? Are you seeing what I saw? They're going to give you 1 of 2 answers. And guys, if they're customer thinking, don't try and upsell them. Oh, it's only $10. Why? Now you've got a customer sitting there that doesn't want to tell anybody, and you've talked them into being one of your distributors. Why? So you can get a $500 check? Let's put 10 people in those spots that actually have a potential to grow, okay? Don't upsell people. If they're customers, you're going to make 20% every single month. I'm actually making a video probably Monday that is just product. We've got a couple people that have been on some of the calls lately and they're like, you don't go into product enough. So I'm doing just a product video. Some of them just don't want to hear about the money. Stop signing those people up as distributors. Their customer mindset. And if that's what they want and they just want to help people with their health, how cool is it that every time they would tell somebody about this, they can get free product? Don't you think that would excite them if they're really product motivated? So that's what that video will be. It's not for you, it's not for your people, but there are some people that need to see that. And we want to make that available to them. But for the rest of them, put them on a Zoom, get them in front of somebody, set up a meeting at your house, or send them the video. But let them choose what's going to be best for them. Don't try and pigeonhole them into one thing or another. If you've tried 3 times to get them to come to a meeting at your house and they just aren't coming, maybe it's time to call them up and say, hey, this just isn't working, but it's really important you see this. You need to be excited and happy when you talk to them. If you're kind of apologizing or you're lackluster about it, they're not going to care. They're not going to want to be interested in what you've got if you're not excited about it. I'm not saying you have to do back handsprings and be fake, but do be excited about what you've got. This literally keeps me awake at night. And I know some of you feel the same way because I have conversations with you. But if you're that excited, make sure it's coming across in your conversation. And if they haven't come, then it's important to say, you know what, this is important and you need to see it. What's the best way? Do you want to get on a phone call with one of my business partners, or should I just send you a video that you can watch in the off hours or listen to as you're driving? And usually they'll go, yeah, that would be great, to one of them. Let them decide. They're more likely to listen to whatever they choose. And then follow up with them. We need to follow up with them as quickly after they've seen the information as possible. If they're on a 3-way call and they're talking to somebody and getting the information, it's important at the very end for somebody to say, so what are you most interested in? Are you seeing this as a product that you want to take, or would you like to be a business partner? Would you like to be a business owner? You can kind of customize your words based on the person if you know them and you know what their hot buttons are. If they're shy, owning a business might scare them to pieces. But being a business partner and having partners to help them might be a handhold up that they can handle. And then follow up as many times as you need to. And guys, if you've got this and none of them will let you come do meetings for them, and none of them are plugging in and none of them are going, you might need to go sign up 12, 13, and 14. Because your job is to get as many people in as it takes to find 4 that will let you help them. And then we help them go get 4 who will run, which means they probably need to sign up 8 or 10. Why not 10 and get the extra $500? So this really is a magical format. We've taught this for years. The people that have done it and launched their business have gotten big checks. And it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with when they got in or where they sit or where they're anything. It's owning it and running. I know people that have gotten really, really early in businesses and absolutely missed the whole thing because they never even turned on the engine. They got all the way to the airport and sat on the plane. That gets really hot really fast. And so then they get off the plane. Have you seen that happen with a couple people? They came to the party, they signed up, never did anything. Now you're calling them saying, hey, your auto ship got turned off. Do you have a problem with the bank? What's going on? They're probably sitting on their plane and it's hot and smelly and they're just not having fun. It's not the Tahiti that they planned. But they need to know that the way to get to Tahiti is turn your plane on and launch it. And we can help them launch it. Guys, I will do presentations anytime anyone asks me, and I will post every presentation that I'm doing on the app. So watch the app. And if it's really sudden and I get asked to do one 2 hours from when I post it, I'll always post it on FastPass so that you can see on the Telegram to catch your attention that there's something new on there. We're trying to get it so it will notify you and put a little notice that there's something new on there, but hasn't happened quite yet. So I'm at my IT guy's beck and call. He does it for me for free. So I have to just be grateful whenever he can get things caught up. We're so grateful that it's out though, and that you have that tool. Anytime you can put people in front of us, please do. I'm starting to get locations for East Coast. So if you've got people out on the East Coast, we'll have at least cities posted within the next couple of days. And you can see if your people are within driving distance to get there. I know there's a few of you that have contacts out in Virginia or Maryland that might be able to get to our East Coast meetings there. Our goal is to just help you any way we can. And if I'm on the East Coast and I'm doing a meeting and you need a Zoom, don't hesitate to ask me. Even if I'm on the road, I'll either Zoom the meeting that I'm doing, or if it needs to be at a different time, I'll step into another room and do a Zoom for you. My goal is to help every one of you get your 10 people. But that means you're making the list and you're at least having the short 1-sentence conversation. 1 sentence, you can do this. Hey, I know things have gotten kind of crazy with your husband. Is he working 2 jobs now or 3? Do you think he'd be open to looking at a Zoom that could maybe show him a way out of one of them, or maybe even two of them? Simple. Not easy. We have to get over our pride, our ego, our fear, whatever it is that's holding us back. But it's worth it. I promise it's worth it. Because the more people's lives that you change, they're going to know people that you don't know. And they're going to know people who have absolutely no fear or big connections, or they know everybody in town, or they have a huge why. Whatever it is, you're going to find people. If you just talk to enough people and get them talking to a few people, you'll find incredible people in your downline. And all of a sudden it takes off and gets very fun. So back to our goal. For those of you that want it, make sure that your enroller knows that you're going for the A6 so that they can help you. This is a team effort. I would love to know who on your teams is going for the A6 so that we can be more attentive to that too, because the law of attraction is very real. And if more people are focused on your goal along with you, you're more likely to hit it. If you're talking about it with more people, you're more likely to hit it. If you're writing it down and you're focusing on it, you're more likely to hit it. If you do not have 10 people enrolled right now, or you have people that aren't doing what you want them to do and you want to go get 10 new ones, or however many you need to go, here's your homework for tonight. Go find a mirror. My suggestion is your bathroom, because it's usually the biggest and you're going to see it every day. Put your name here. And then if you already have, let's say you already have a couple of leaders that are running, we're going to put their names. So I'm just going to put 1 and 2 there, because maybe you have 2 people, you've signed up 7 and 2 of them are actually moving and the other 5 aren't, right? So then we're going to put, we've moved the 7 and there's 4, and maybe there's some other people down here that aren't really doing anything. Maybe there's somebody here, we've placed somebody there, but maybe these 2 aren't doing anything. So then the goal is we need to go find a new person. And I do dotted lines because the universe does not like a vacuum. Have you ever noticed that? If you step in wet sand, what happens as soon as you take your foot out? Fills in with water or sand. It's really hard to make footprints in the sand if it's too wet. I was trying to do an analogy and take pictures and stuff one day, and I turned around and it was just pure sand. And I'm like, I just walked there. What happened? And it had all just filled in. Well, there's a vacuum law of the universe. So if you create a vacuum and create a dotted line, it fills in faster than just knowing that I need to put people there. So if you're going to put 2 people there, and maybe you're going to get another one just to help this guy because this guy's going for A6 and you want to help them, and maybe you want to put 1 there, and then maybe you want to put 1 there. Figure out where you're going to put your people and draw it on your mirror tonight. And if you would, take a picture of it and send it to me, or send it to your enroller, send it to somebody on your team so that they know what your goal is and they can help you do it. And then know that we're available to do calls, to do Zooms, to do follow-up calls. If you've got people that have questions, when you call them up and say, what did you like best? And they're like, this and this, but I have questions about this. And you're like, I don't know, but I know somebody that does, and I'm brand new. So let's find out together. Be excited about it, because it's a learning thing, rather than, oh, I don't know, and I'm nervous, and now I don't know what to say, and I'm so sorry, and I just don't even. No, it's fine. Handle it like a pro. I don't know, I'm brand new. Let's find out together. And then get somebody on the phone and learn together and take notes so that when you get asked that again, the next time you know. Because this is a learning process for all of us. I still have times that I'm like, I don't know. Let me call Angie and find out. I don't know. Let me call David and find out, because I don't know either. Like, sometimes we're all just so brand new. There are things that we haven't encountered yet. So it's okay not to know. I actually got to the top of a company and still didn't know everything. And you might too. So it's okay, as long as you handle the I don't know with professionalism and make it fun. This whole business should be fun. You get over your fear and you do things that you never thought you'd do, and you make a road trip and you stand in front of a room and you do a presentation and something you never saw yourself doing. And there are people on this call that I cannot wait for you to hear from, because they, a year ago, would have said, absolutely not. You'll never see me in front of a room. I'm never doing that. I would rather throw up in the other room. I could never do that.
so nervous just thinking about it. And now they're doing it. And they are passionate. You're going to meet some of them at this leadership retreat. So, whatever your fears are, we can help you get over them. Please put us to work. Let's make October really, really big. If you can get other people on your team running for A6, you might just hit A7 or A8 along the way. And that's even more fun because then you're all going to the event together. Let corporate fly you and a few of your key leaders in for a really fun weekend. It'll happen probably the first weekend in December. We're still waiting for exact dates from David. I think it's going to be the 3rd and 4th. We should know soon. They're doing a big anniversary event down in Mexico this week. So that's where a lot of their focus is. So as soon as we can get them to shift gears back to the US, we'll get some of the details dialed in. But right now we just go to work. We know what we need to do. We need to get you to A6. Congratulations to those of you that hit it in September. Let's go help your people do the same thing. And let's make October absolutely crazy big. Awesome. So excited for you guys. I think that's everything on my list. If there's other questions, text them to me and I will respond. Have a great night, everybody. And this is a wrap.